It was one for the ages. We were on the air for it. And if you guys recall, too, they played like 38 minutes. It was 3-3. And I said, man, at this rate, this thing's going to take like an hour and 20 minutes. It actually took exactly an hour and 20 minutes. I nailed the time. They played for an hour and 20 minutes in the first set, and it was great tennis. And then, like, immediately after, Joker lost the first set 7-6 in the tiebreaker. Like, he went like the match was over. Like, he went up to the net, he shook his hand, he shook the umpire's hand, and people were like, what's going on? Like, he didn't, like, say, hey, I'm out. Like, he just sort of, like, and he walked off the court. He couldn't continue. The bets were voided. And there's a lot of debate as to, like, when does it get voided? What do they do with tennis? And there's different rules when it's a 3-set match and a 5-set match. So, in a 3-set match, like, I'm sure it's happened to you before where, the player gets disqualified, you lose. It is what it is. The player tapped out, right? But when there's 5 sets and they only play 1 set, so we can get into the rules a little bit. But as long as you're gambling, and, I've been gambling a long time, there's always going to be stuff like, what happens now, right? Remember earlier this year, there was a play with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills where Allen threw the ball, but then he threw it to Cooper, but Cooper flicked it to Josh Allen, and people didn't know what it counted for in the props, and it didn't count for this, it counted for that. That's the great thing about sports. No matter how much you watch and bet on this stuff, there's always going to be things that you've never seen before. So we did play the UCLA Bruins to win the basketball game, and the Buffalo Bills plus 7.5, minus 114. Plus 7.5 Buffalo Bills, UCLA to win, minus 114. And we like the over 138. We're now 5-0 in the unrivaled women's basketball league. Absolute fire. 2-0 last week, 3-0 tonight. Let's roll. This is SportsRage. Bring it.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pistol players, the hustlers, the people that busted them, and everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. Countdown to kickoff is on. It's a lighter night tonight as far as the late night action is concerned. One NBA game going on. College basketball winding down. Purdue just smacked Michigan, but the game did go over the number. Late night in the National Hockey League tonight. But I've been enjoying these Friday night unrivaled women's basketball games. It's the new league, unrivaled, and it's WNBA players. You don't have to be in the WNBA, but it's mostly like WNBA players. But like Caitlin Clark's not playing, but most of the stars are actually, like Jewel Lloyd, Sabrina Ionescu, etc. Like most of them are making pretty good money playing in this league. It's 3-on-3, and I don't know why I do well in these new leagues and stuff that nobody bets, but we went 2-0 last week in its openers, and tonight we rolled to a sweet 3-0. So a nice fat 5-0 on the year with the women's unrivaled basketball league so far. And we even hit, there was a sports book up there that had an odds boost up to plus 300 tonight, or plus 319 or whatever it was, and we hit that. So build it. You know, I've always said this before. It doesn't matter what sport it is. People will be like, oh, you bet on the Arena Football League. And I said, listen, when the sports book pays you, they don't care whether it's the Philadelphia Soul or the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Philadelphia Phillies. A win is a win. Let's bring in Lou. Lou likes to win. Gamblu in the house. What's going on, Lou? How you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me in. What a great weekend for some football. I know you guys are very dexterous and can bet a lot. I try and focus a little bit more. I'll be really concentrating on the two NFL games this weekend.
I find sometimes the less I know is better. It sounds crazy to say that.
It's true, Gabe.
But
great point.
Great point. I simplify things, right? Like the XFL, Lou, and the UFLs and stuff like that. The CFLs, I do very well with, because there's not a lot of outside noise, right? They're really, with these leagues, there are no outside opinions. You know what I mean? There are no UFC countdown shows to confuse you. Right? It's basically, all right, I watch these teams play. This is what I think. This is the roster. I don't like the matchup. I'm good at, like, the instantaneous breakdowns. Like, I looked at the card tonight, and I was like, nah, I don't like anything in the NBA. I don't like anything in the NHL. I like the Michigan over, okay. But let's attack this unrivaled stuff again. Although I will say, Lou, when it translates to mixed martial arts, and our good friend Joey Odessa once told me this, when we were betting on like Bellator and you bet on these other leagues and crazy stuff happens, he told me, you bet on bad leagues, expect weird and bad results. And you stay away from all this type of stuff, right? The PFLs and all these other things. And it's hard to keep up, Lou, because you see there's a ton of them right now, right? I mean, there's something going. I see there's some big draft. I don't know. I'm like, what the hell? Junior Dos Santos was just drafted 4th overall. This guy should be drafted in a retirement home, Lou, not a fight league. What's up? I'm just saying.
You're right. That guy's been fighting forever. Enough.
I don't know. They have some draft. Chris Weidman was selected 6th in some draft. I'm like, of what? You guys drafting like retired fighters for? Wow. But you stay away from all this stuff, Lou, and I do too now. I don't bet like the secondary. Do you bet the Dana White Contender Series stuff, Lou? Because that is a popular thing that people are betting on.
I don't, but I'll watch it. And I watch it because it gives me some form of an idea as to
you're scouting for future fights.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's due diligence. And if I'm watching a Bellator or a PFL, it's for entertainment purposes. And if I am going to bet those, I'm chalk ridden because those results are chalk ridden. I really try and focus on it in fighting the UFC because I'm looking for advantage and trying to find that with dogs. That was a tough thing to do last year with favorites hitting 70.5%, but it's already regressed the first 2 events this year. Favorites are closer to 63%. And really, talking about value is almost a fool's errand this weekend because with these NFL games, there is no value. Nobody's uncovering anything that's going to be revolutionary. What I will say is when the line comes out, Philadelphia 4.5, and now you're looking at 6 or 6.5, now there's some value that we can talk about. And I think I have to acknowledge that Washington's a live team, and they're offering me some advantage to take that 6 or 6.5.
You're right about the no value here at this stage of the year. You know what I mean? Like there's like 35 states that have legalized this stuff. So there's such a mass volume of action on these games. The odds makers have seen these teams a million times. They have it locked in. We're seeing the numbers we saw last week, guys, with that with the safety late in the football game coming into play as far as the point spread is concerned. The only place, like you said, Lou, and it's true, Cam, is the only time is you got to attack the props immediately, Lou. Right?
Yes.
And those are even worse, bro. Because this is literally, I guess the best way of putting it, everybody, it's like this is like we're shopping on December 24th and you're looking for a deal an hour before the store closes at Christmas.
Great point,
Everybody's
Gabe.
shopping, right? So the store is selling high. They're not selling low. They also know, well, these suckers are going to bet this game no matter what the damn number is because there's only, it's a big game. There's 2 games left. So they set the numbers, but the props, they set the props, and then those props move. Like we see, it goes from 37.5 to 42.5. And I bring this up, guys, for the Super Bowl, and it'll be the same thing. Like, honestly, like on Sunday night, guys, the sports books don't hesitate anymore. They will have player props up for the Super Bowl on Sunday night, like half an hour after the Bills-Chief game is over. And if you're going to play the prop market, you better attack that one early because there'll be no deals left by the time Super Bowl Sunday comes around.
Gabe, Austin Eckler opened up at some books at 20.5 or 21.5. He's 25.5 for receptions. Our boy Goddard, 46.5. Now it's 36.5 is up to 40.5 or 41.5. You're right. These are big differences, man. You got to jump early.
Yeah, you got to jump early if you're betting on a guy.
Yeah.
But there's late arbitrage positions if you wait.
Yes, or go under, or go under.
Against
You're
the
right.
guy.
Yes, good call.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's do this thing. The Friday Night Free Show continues. Countdown to kickoff is on, but we've got some breaking NFL news. The San Francisco 49ers have officially hired Robert Saleh as their new defensive coordinator. So he was there before. He went to the Jets, so now he's just going back to the 49ers. He's like a perfect coordinator. Wasn't like really the head coach type. So good hire for them. And
Yes.
Dallas Cowboy fans and the internet right now is blowing up. It's not Deion Sanders, and it's nothing flashy at all. It's Brian Schottenheimer. Now, listen, the Schottenheimer name has had success, and this just goes to show, like, the nepotism of the National Football League coaching carousel continues here. But already on the staff, you know, like, really, like, what does this bring to the team here? Like, you've already got a guy that was there, you know, like, you needed some sort of spark. These players, like, the players are getting sort of like they've lost their fire. They're losing their enthusiasm and their joy to play. I thought Deion would have been a good shot in the arm for them, actually, to bring some energy in. And I know Michael Parsons, like I said, it's just more of the same. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to criticize it because, listen, maybe this, maybe it works for them. Let's see how it plays out. But Cowboy fans, not exactly overly celebrating the hire right now. Any opinion, Lou, on the coaching hires? And
Woody
Pete Carroll's back.
Johnson.
Pete Carroll gets hired in Las Vegas today.
Yeah, good for Pete.
Woody Johnson, the McCaskies, and Jerry Jones. Forget it. It doesn't matter who they hire. It doesn't matter what they do. Systemically, those organizations are broken. Period.
So, and you're a Bears guy at heart, so you're taking a wait and see approach because Bear fans are already booking the Super Bowl parade. Oh, Ben Johnson. It's like I brought it up. Listen, you never know. And just because you're a good coordinator doesn't mean you're going to be a good head coach either. Like the road to hell is paved with good coordinators.
The McCaskies, they're fine people. They're great Chicago figureheads. They're philanthropists. They give to charity. They're great human beings. They got no business running a football team. It doesn't matter who they hire. The Chicago people are going to be they're going to embrace the new hire. They got their man, and then 5 games in next year, they're going to be in the same position they are this year.
It's so true. It's so true.
There was a lot of enthusiasm last year coming into the season. But like I said, these coaching hires, you always have to wait and see how they play out. All right, so Philadelphia and Washington. There's been so much talk about Jalen Hurts, guys, and his health status throughout the week. He was a full participant in practice today. We all knew he was going to play. We also know he's not 100%, but Cam Jurgens, their center, is now a concern for them. And, you know, the center is the most underrated position in football, the least talked about position amongst, the mainstream, but the offensive lines just blow up without centers, man. You see when a backup center comes in, suddenly you got problems. I know, and the Eagles maybe arguably have the best offensive line of football as it is. Can they absorb this? I kind of believe he's going to play, but it's a slight concern. And I don't think, Lou, that Jalen Hurts is close to 100%. We see he's not as mobile as he normally is. He's not a great pocket passer to begin with. And let's be real, Saquon Barkley and the Eagles defense are carrying this football team right now.
I agree with all those statements. I think that that center position next to the quarterback equates to as much point spread difference in a game as any position outside maybe a rush end or a cornerback. But that center, he is the commandeer of the whole offensive line. They need this Jurgens. I think Philly head-to-head matches up and wins every matchup except this week, quarterback and coach. That's the edge that I have to give to Washington. But the Washington defense especially, and in particularly that rush defense, is the hole that they're going to have to address. And in selling out to stop the run game, will they leave themselves exposed? We talk on the break about the tight ends. Gabe, you mentioned Goddard. I expect him to have a big game roaming the middle as they try and cover the outside, stop the run, and that's going to leave that middle wide open.
And you have former Philadelphia Eagle Zach Ertz on the other side as well. That's kind of a forgotten man. And it's the one thing as well, too, that the Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels have done really well is they'll throw it to anybody. right? Like they'll dump it off. They've got a dynamic passing attack. It's simple, but they have like there's almost 3 tiers to it. It's like, all right, we can go deep to McLaurin, we can go over the middle of the field to Brown or Ertz, or we could dump it off to Eckler, and it's a challenge to deal with. Cliff Kingsbury's pushing all the right buttons right now.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Countdown to kickoff is on less than 48 hours. All right, so the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Lou, there's been line movement, and you were talking about the original 4.5, and there's 6.5s out there right now. And, this is it puts yourself in a position. We saw this in bowl season sometimes, guys, where the so-called sharp market would hammer a total from like 49.5 to 42 or something like that. I'm like, well, I'll take the over 42 now. Thanks, guys, because you're giving me value on the over now, even though you all bet the under. Is 6.5 enough to get you involved here? Because it's tough to go against the Philadelphia Eagles, but they're not a perfect team. I mean, the Rams covered last week. The Packers could have covered, even though they didn't have anybody playing by the end of the football game. Washington play with house money. Dan Quinn's coached in a Super Bowl. It should be noted, too, guys. Sean McDermott's the only coach this week, and it hasn't been a head coach in a Super Bowl. It's pretty wild. And Sean McDermott was the defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers in the Super Bowl. So you got some big-time coaches this weekend. Sirianni's been there but hasn't won, even though they don't like him. But what are you going to do with the side? Are you going to tease it, Lou? What are you going to do with the game?
I'm in a hurry. I'm encouraged that 6.5 is here, and it's Friday night. I'm going to hurry up and wait. I'm not discounting the fact that this could get to 7. Public's really not been involved in these games just yet till Saturday comes and Saturday night. So I'm going to sit around and wait for that 7. And I don't think it's impossible that it could show up because I'm going to need at least that, I think, in order to try and swallow hard and take that Washington defense. Defense does loom large this time of year, and that's what Washington doesn't have. And that's what scares me in this matchup. But the value or the advantage in gambling on this game is with Washington. I need one more half a point.
So looking at the player props for this, we were talking about the tight ends having success. And Cam, you said you already played Zach Ertz to score a touchdown in this game, which will pay plus 275 right now. Zach Ertz to score a touchdown. I like Zach Ertz to, you know what I mean? I saw 3.5 catches earlier in the week. I like the yards, though. And basically in every one of these games, guys, look, the Kansas City Chiefs are the worst team in the NFL against tight ends. Like literally and figuratively. They give up nearly 7 yards a play to tight ends. So, you know, they funnel everything through. A lot of these new defensive schemes kind of just give up the stuff to the tight end over the middle of the field, and it's the easiest for the quarterback to get rid of it. So, like, I like here it is, the Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is 33.5. I think that's manageable. You know what I mean? He can, you know, a big play here, a big play there. He goes over to 33.5, and Goddard is up to 40.5 right now, but I still think Goddard has a big game.
Gabe, I just want to make one quick point, too, and Lou's right about Washington, but your kid from Michigan, Sanders, still, have you seen the improvement of this guy? He's on the national championship winning Michigan Wolverines, and you saw him play. Like, this guy, he had multiple picks against Detroit. He's an all-pro in college, and I'm watching this guy play now, and he's taking his game to a new level. That's the thing. I know they still have Bobby Wagner. They still have some old guys, but I was watching that secondary. Lattimore gets burned more than him. This kid out of Michigan's the real deal, and he's getting better every week and more confident. He absolutely was blanketing Detroit receivers, and they're fast.
Oh, Satistro's a good football player.
Yes.
He's a winner. Like I said, he's got that winning pedigree. It was sad for Michigan, Detroit Lion fans to lose to him and have him be the one that intercepted the football. But it's a cold world. And the thing is, too, Lou, Dan Quinn, I do believe that Dan Quinn, listen, it is what it is. They give up 140 yards a game on the ground, right? Only 2 teams in the NFL give up more yards on the ground than Washington does. So, and Saquon carved them up both times when they played this year. But I always get the feeling, Lou, it's a little bit different, man. Like when you get into a playoff game, you give a team a week to prepare. You give Dan Quinn a week to prepare. I think I think Washington's defense can come up with enough stops to keep them in this football game to cover this point spread.
I got to have that 7, though. At 6.5, I just don't know.
Lou,
I just don't know.
Don't you love Lou, Gabe? Like he's a dog on a bone. Nah, 7 or nothing, right, Lou?
And listen, I'm not afraid to fade. I really am not. But that defense, yeah, if they can stop Saquon, what's going to be open? And okay, 3 passes down the middle to Goddard, and all of a sudden now they got to play a little bit more pass coverage. And I just don't know. Saquon is what he is. He's been doing it all year. He's running behind a great offensive line. They're going to need him more than anything because I don't believe Jalen Hurts is going to be running the ball too much unless it's for a couple of yards here and there and get down. So Philly should be favored. I think Washington has the moxie at quarterback and coach to get it done. But as far as me investing in the game, I gotta get to that 7, or it's going to be tough for me to do.
I had a little mini vision of the end of this football game earlier in the week. And I hope I'm wrong for the guy, but for whatever reason, I was like, you know what? I don't know, it just sort of popped in my head that Washington are going to lose on a missed field goal.
Oh, that's Zane Gonzalez? That guy's
but I think he's I think he's okay, but I'm not saying, I think he's shaky or something. I'm just saying, but I think it's going to be that close. Like, I don't think this is just going to be some big party for Philadelphia here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the Green Bay Packers were kind of a free pass. Let's be real, right? They were so beat up. That was kind of a free pass game. The Rams were coming off a Monday night game. We talked about the emotional aspect of it, and they were in a tough spot, right? Washington, I know this is their 3rd game in a row on the road and stuff like that, but I just get the feeling that Washington, they have a different level of confidence than those other teams do. You know, I think the Rams sort of thought we could win. You know what I mean? But I think, McVay's like, all right, we'll see what happens. I think Washington's coming in here thinking we will win. Like, why won't we? Like, I don't think Daniels thinks of himself like a rookie, Lou. Like, I think they think we're going to win this game.
They do, and this is division hatred. They've faced each other twice already. Washington won a game, and oh, by the way, Washington has the highest ranked via DVOA ratings, the highest ranked special teams of the 4 teams remaining. I think if it gets down to a kick, it's Elliott you better watch out for, not the Washington kicker.
Well, I'm pulling for Washington. I'm betting Washington.
Love
Although
Washington.
I'm going to wait for that 7 with you, Lou. I'm holding.
I think it's coming. I think it's coming, guys.
I think my book is profiling me because it's not moving. It's at 6. They know what I want to do. I see it's pretty much 6.5 everywhere, and I'm seeing a 6 right now. All right, so before we got about a minute for the break. Any other props, Lou, on this game? Who are you looking at? You talked about some of the tight ends here. I brought up Zach Ertz, 33.5 receiving yards. Dallas Goedert's 40.5 right now. Last night we talked about Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown, 64.5. Devontae Smith was 47.5 last night. It's up to 49.5. So like I said, guys, there's going to be movement with these props, but are you looking at anybody else, Lou, as far as props in this game?
Head-to-head rushing. Hurts against Robinson, the running back for Washington. Robinson -5.5, -115. I mean, that's like stealing, guys. Hurts is not going to be running the ball.
What book is that at? I'm going to see if I can find that.
That's a DraftKings. I scoured DraftKings before I came on.
Interesting.
Good stuff. So, no, and it's good to tell people because people have accounts at different books. So that's an interesting book for those of you that have a DK account out there. I'm going to look and see if I see any sort of specials here. As far as the touchdown props are concerned, Saquon Barkley's -225 to score a touchdown. Jalen Hurts is -120. Terry McLaurin is +125. A.J. Brown is +130. Devontae Smith +175. Brian Robinson Jr. +187. Jaden Daniels +187. To me, this is one that sort of jumps off the screen at me. Austin Eckler +300.
Yes, Dave. Yes. Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the Pistol Players, the Hustlers, the people at Bustler, and everybody else in between. We're talking Final Four right now. It's an off week for the UFC this week. Gamblu in the house with us, Cam Stewart as well. We got Tony Finn later on from Area 51, and, of course, Rob Vino from Philadelphia. But as we talk, and I got a lacrosse game on in front of me, man, these guys get away with a lot. This dude on, like, whatever team it was, the dude on Calgary just, like, viciously hacked the dude on Toronto in the back. Yes. No call. It's like, all right, like they just played on a little National Lacrosse League action right now. But as we're talking football, it should be noted, and this is pretty wild, guys. Major League Baseball pitchers and catchers report in 16 days. The Cubs report in 16 days. The Dodgers report in 17 days. And then the rest of the league reports in 20 days. The Dodgers and Cubs open up the season March 18th, regular season baseball, March 18th and 19th from Tokyo. All right, so let's get into the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs game. Lou, the Bills survived last weekend. You're a UFC guy, and I think football can be used a lot of analogies and stuff. It wasn't pretty. Like, it's almost like, you know, in a 5-round fight, they won the first 3 rounds, and they hung on for dear life in the last 2. You know what I'm saying? And they got there. Right, like it was like, you know what I mean. The bell sounded, they got out of there. Although they took a beating at the end of the game, type of deal. But they ended up surviving and advancing, and it's all matchups, right? I mean, football's all matchups, guys. And last week, the big concern was, okay, can they shut down this potent, ground attack that they've had, a hard time stopping before? They match up well with Kansas City. Kansas City doesn't really run the ball that well. Like they're, you know what I mean. They can a bit, but it's not a devastating rushing attack where KC have killed the Bills, guys, in these big games. And it's just so stupid because it's so simple as Travis freaking Kelce over the middle of the field. That's how they've beaten them. They just, with the third down conversions and stuff, you get them into a 3rd and 6, they get 7. They throw it to Kelce. You got them in 3rd and 9, they throw it to Kelce. He gets 10 in these playoff games. But this year, guys, and I have the numbers here, and I want to give credit to, I believe it's ProFootballNetwork.com, about the red zone of the Kansas City Chiefs this year. And that's kind of a little bit of an Achilles heel for them, guys, that people aren't talking about. The Kansas City Chiefs have struggled a lot more in the red zone this year than they have in past years. They've settled for a lot of field goals. Meanwhile, the Buffalo Bills have been one of the most efficient teams in the red zone. I really do believe the red zone play is going to come down to big time stuff. The Chiefs are just monsters. They're 3rd and 3rd down conversions in the National Football League, but 24th in the red zone only. To me, Lou, red zone. You're going to have to finish and put touchdowns up on the board.
And to me, Gabe, it's special teams. And every way I handicap this game, I land on Buffalo until I get to 28 out of 32 on special teams for Buffalo. That's the chink in the armor that's holding me up. That's the chink in the armor that has me raising an eyebrow. That said, we talked about it last week. Buffalo isn't the same team as last year. They're tougher on defense. They're tougher against the run. They're running the ball. They have a physical presence on offense. Yeah, they held on at the end, but they don't put pictures on the scoreboard. They just give you the final score. Buffalo earned that game, and they beat a good team in Buffalo. They come to Kansas City with a lot of momentum. Now, Kansas City's going to have Pacheco running the ball. They didn't have him when they played in Buffalo earlier in the season, so there's going to be some wrinkles here. But to me, it's about Buffalo playing from the lead. If Buffalo can play this game from the lead, more than 3 points lead too, 7-point lead, a 10-point lead. If Buffalo can be in the third quarter and it's 21 to 14, 21 to 10, Buffalo is going to be able to manipulate the game the way they need to and mute the importance of the special teams where I have a lack of confidence in them. Kansas City always finds a way. They've been playing in these close games. But did you see what Houston did to their defense last week? Houston moved the ball. I'm confident in the Bills. They just have to, I believe, play from the lead to mute the importance of that lack of special teams, primarily that kicking game.
you're a smart man, Lou, because I've said this. I said this coming into the playoffs, and it sounds simplistic, but it really isn't. I said for the Bills to win the Super Bowl, they're going to need to blow teams out. Point blank. You know what I mean? They're going to need to show up and get ahead on the scorecard, like a fight. Like I said, get up 3 rounds to none and just don't get knocked out after, right? And hang on somehow, because they're not like losing guys. The Kansas City Chiefs are 11-0 in one-score games this year. We've seen this script before. It used to be when you're playing a championship team, well, let's just keep the game close and take our chances in the fourth quarter. No, that's a certain death against the Chiefs. Let's bludgeon them to death and be up by 14 points with 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? Like that, you know what I mean? It's like a mob hit here, Cam. This is like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to shoot the body 37. Like, I want proof the corpse is dead.
I love it.
Like,
You're right,
I want proof.
No.
I want proof. I want the head in a bag. I want, like, the limbs here. I want to get gruesome here. But you got to go Mexican cartel on their ass.
You got to be. You're
it's
right.
Like, you know what? You're not coming back. We're winning by 21, Patty. Have fun.
You got to be.
Because if it's close, I don't trust
yes.
Tyler. I don't trust Bass either. And I don't trust McDermott in close games. I hate to say it, but we've lost so many close games before where decisions need to be made. It's almost like Josh. Don't think. Go out there, out-jock everybody.
Yes.
Just be Superman. Don't think.
You guys are dead on. Got to be up 2 possessions all the time. Never leave the Chiefs a chance to win at the end of the game. They'll find a way to win at the game. Bass was good last week, but we've also seen him gag. Butker is the best kicker in the league. Don't leave it up to that stuff. Another thing you have to do, Allen is going to go absolutely nuts on a broken play, and he is going to go squirrely. Every time you get a chance, you run, and you beat these guys into oblivion. The Bills have a running game. That's the thing that they can do, Gabe. They got to punch him in the face early. Exactly what you guys say.
That was
2 possessions.
That wasn't talked about enough last week. Everybody talking about Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson so much. It's like, you know, James Cook's pretty good. Buffalo Bills can run the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Josh Allen's a pretty good runner. Can you stop them?
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use rookie quarterback on. No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because, you know, he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, our poll question is still up. Who you taking to win the AFC Conference Championship game? We're up to 386 votes right now. I'll post it again so we'll get a little bit more traction here. It's overwhelming. 63% Buffalo Bills, which is a pretty high rate. Like, it's a little bit scary here. These are some of the comments. Want the Bills to do it. KC never seemed to lose in games. Always find a win. It's super annoying. Someone else said, want the Bills to win, but believe KC will win on a game-winning field goal. Coming after a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty, LOL. Here's Max Gray. Feels like a Chief spot. Too many people hoping the Bills win. All right, we got a lot of stuff here. A lot of comments. Here's somebody. Loaded question because your sheep followers will say the Bills. This guy's always got something to say. He's got 5 followers. He's got 5 followers.
Well, this is the Sports Rage show, so I mean, we do have to understand there is a little bit of web of filtration that we're going to have to take through this the poll. I would have expected the Bills to be the majority on this show. I have to say.
Yes,
and they were last week as well against Baltimore. Just for the record. But honestly, it's kind of like the Bills are America's team. I could have went on and on with the comments, but I got people like a lot of people like Raider fans are all like, I hate the Chiefs. I hope you beat them. Raven fans are on our side now. Like, hell, even Jet fans, like everybody. Nobody wants to see KC win unless you bet on them or you're a Chief fan. Nobody wants to see this.
I don't want to say this. And sometimes the Italians say
neither do former great teams because they don't want this era to be the greatest team ever and be the only ones to win 3 Super Bowls.
Exactly.
So like even past teams are like, no, we don't want this.
Gabe, I could be citrus fruit. I could be a lemon and a mush. But I'm going to tell you something, and this is a trend that you went to the national championship game. Michigan won in overtime in one of the craziest games. You went to see the Dodgers. They won the World Series. It could be your year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it might be could be the trifecta here, but at $8,000, I'm not sure I'll actually be at the Super Bowl. All right, Lou, we got a couple of minutes left here, so it sounds like you're leaning Buffalo here. They're getting 1.5 points in this game. Josh Allen's rushing yard prop, it was 48.5. I've seen 49.5 depending on your book. If there's ever a game that I think Josh really will put the cape on and just say, you know what, I'm taking off here. Like if he doesn't like what he sees, not to mention the design runs that they're going to run a few of them for him. I think, guys, as we were going to the break, I think the Buffalo Bills rushing attack is one of the more under-talked about things in the playoffs, and it can also keep Mahomes on the sidelines as well if the Bills just sort of get going. I thought Cook at 54.5 was a little light. And Josh Allen at 48.5 is a little light. And it's currently 47.5. James Cook is 56.5 now. Allen 47.5. Lou, any props in the Buffalo KC game that you like?
Yeah, I like where you're going there, Gabriel. But where I want to go with the team rushing yards for Buffalo because they're 3 deep at the running back position. This kid Johnson just showed up. Davis has juice. And so
here's a prop, guys. How about this, Lou and Cam? Ray Davis, over under 8.5 rushing yards. This kid can pick that up on one run.
All 3 of those running backs got juice, and they're going to use all 3. I like team rushing for Buffalo over, especially if we're talking about them playing from the lead and try and take the air out of that Arrowhead Stadium. And then you get the bonus from the quarterback as well. So. That's where I'm headed, and I'm just going to have to try and figure out how to get over the special teams. Hopefully that doesn't raise its head late in the game.
Quickly, Lou, Gabe, I just want to ask him, because we had Paul Bovia on the show, and he actually, we talked about it. He liked Kelsey under 69.5 receiving. What's your take on that?
I tend to agree with Bovie on almost anything, but what I'll say is, I don't know that I want to touch Kelsey, but I want that other tight end for Kansas City, especially coming off a quiet game. Gray, yes. He's coming off a quiet game, and usually off a quiet game, then the guy gets programmed or played back into the next game plan. So I would say Gray might have some opportunity.
Agreed.
And it should be noted the Kansas City Chiefs give up the most yards per play to the tight end position in the National Football League. And Dalton Kincaid's prop is 3.5 to the over plus 120. I think that's a little high. And it's, Kincaid's good, but Josh trusts Dawson Knox more. Dawson Knox's receiving yard prop is over under 1.5 only. I think he's going to go over. Luke, Gamblu.com, Gamblu on X. Always great, Luke. Thanks for the time, my man.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Rob Vino stepping up and in next on the Friday night Freak Show. We got Tony Finn. Speaking of freaks, he puts the freak in the Freak Show. Let's check the scoreboard right now. We'll get back to the football. Countdown to kickoff is on. Penn State and Iowa, actually. This is a game that I should have gotten in on earlier. I got caught up in the Michigan-Purdue game. But I like the over this game, and it's going to get there. It's getting there right now. Barely, but it's getting there. Penn State and Iowa, 76-75. I think the total is like 152. So there's 36 seconds left in the game. Iowa are up by 1. Good Big Ten game. And the UCLA-Washington game, even though I already put my bet in, this game's just tipping off right now, actually, at 11 o'clock Eastern time. It hasn't tipped off yet, 8 o'clock. It's in Seattle, UCLA and Washington. And as I brought up off the top, the UCLA Bruins had a rough road trip after the Michigan loss. Cronin ripped them. It backfired. They got smoked in the next 2 games after that. But since they got back home to Los Angeles, 2 nice wins. UCLA beat Wisconsin and they beat Iowa. They smoked Iowa, and they won a close one against the Badgers. Both games went over the number. I like the over this game. UCLA, people think of Cronin and they think of defense and stuff. But, guys, if you look at their games, they just won 85-83 against Wisconsin. They beat Iowa 94-70. They lost at Rutgers 75-68. They got crushed at Maryland 79-61. They lost at home to Michigan 94-75. But you notice the pattern here. All right, they don't score when they go on the road on the East Coast, but when they get back home, they score. And this isn't a home game, but it is in Seattle against the Washington Huskies team that they play twice a year every year for the last 100 years, and they absolutely own them. They're 9-1 straight up the last 10 times they played. This is a winnable game for UCLA. I'm not in love with the 5 points. I do like the over 137 in this game. So I see a 137.5 here right now. This is about to tip off. But I do think UCLA are going to win the basketball game. So are they going to cover? Yeah, it could be close to the number, but I do think they're going to win the basketball game. And as I told you guys off the top, we played the UCLA Bruins on the money line, parlayed with the Buffalo Bills plus 7.5 points at minus 114. So there's a little jump ahead to Sunday's football games if you want to get after it. But I like the over this game, and I think UCLA do probably end up covering Cam as well.
Yeah, I like the over more than the game itself. You know me, Gabe, I usually really like my home dogs, but you bring up a great point. UCLA has better quality than Washington. Washington can play some good games at home. 5.5, it's it's one of those numbers. I think it's probably going to land right around that for UCLA, but I prefer the over as well. Washington will get theirs, and UCLA will score. So yes, I agree full-heartedly. Over 137.5. Let's go.
Yeah, there should be some points in this game. And as I said, it's a road game for UCLA. It's a road game for UCLA, but it's a West Coast road game. It's a trip that they're used to, right? If you're on the UCLA Bruins, it's not bad. You know what I mean? You're in LA. You're like, all right, where are we going, coach? We're going to Seattle. It's like, okay, I just did this flight, actually. It's like 2 hours, 2 hours, and, it's like 2 hours. So 2-hour flight. They're also used to it. They've been to Seattle a bunch of times, in and out, right? It's not, it's not a road trip like you're going to New Jersey and stuff. Like I said, man, Rutgers in the middle of nowhere. Like, you go into that arena and stuff, like these teams are doomed, especially in the middle of the winter with these trips. But I do think UCLA are the better team here tonight. NHL hockey is done for the evening. And NBA basketball is done for the evening. Like I said, we've got it's a light night tonight. It's the calm before the storm. We hit the unrivaled basketball earlier this evening. And like I said, we got the UCLA-Washington game coming up tonight. After that, it's on to tomorrow, Cam.
Yeah, Gabe, I just want to make one quick point. I know we haven't really talked about the golf, but looking at the leaderboard, a lot of crazy things happened. And there was a flu going around, so a lot of people withdrew from this tournament. Ludwig Aberg was winning this tournament by a mile. He absolutely gagged on himself and went to T8. There are guys on the leaderboard. I just want to give you the odds of them at the start of the tournament. We talking Harris English was 100-1, and there's guys in the mix 350-1 and a 500-1. Brent Snedeker almost didn't play golf again. He had a horrible surgery, and they had to crack his back and do all sorts of other things. He's making a comeback. He's T8. I'm looking, Gabe, this tournament is going to be boxcars. Anybody can win, and all these guys at the top are 100 plus. This Podger guy, he's 500-1. I'm what is happening this week? So I don't know, man. This Torrey Pines, when the winds picked up, a lot of people hit the skids. Crazy, crazy stuff on the links this week.
I would say personally, the two guys that catch my eye right now, looking at the odds, I think a Bear could go back on another scorching run again.
Yeah, he could.
This tournament has been just insanity, and I'm glad I don't have a ton of bets on it because the wind has been insane. There's been the suspended play. Like you said, players are in, players are sick. You're playing on multiple courses, so the odds are just skyrocketing all over the place right now. But Ludwig is 14-1 right now, and the guy that I like coming into this a little bit too, and he's not that far off. I think he's 6 shots off right now. Hideki Matsuyama is 40-1. Yep. Pretty good odds considering he's only 6 shots off, 40-1.
I would agree. And a lot of these guys, take a look at the leaderboard. Snedeker, he's a vet, but he's got a lot of injuries. Grayson Sigg, he can't close the door. Oh, Gabe, look who's back. Our buddy. Remember Chris Ventura? Chris Ventura, golf detective. 600-1. He's T8. A lot of these guys are going to fall off a cliff because they've never been in this situation before. Your favorite, Joel, what would you call him? Jeffrey Dahmer. Joel Damon is 500. He's T4. So this is going to be nuts right now with Harris English 100-1 to lead the tournament. Novak, you're right. Anybody can come out of nowhere. And right now for that, Ludwig Aberg to make up 5 strokes, it seems like a lot, but it's not.
And I said on to tomorrow. And technically, you know what, 3:30 in the morning Eastern time is tomorrow, and in fact, 12:30 Pacific. That's when the Australian Open Women's Final first serve. Big match tonight with Sabalenka, who's turning into the most dominant women's player in the game. And this could really help her legacy and grow and sort of cement that as her as the best player in the game. And you got Madison Keys that's gone on a hell of a run, right? People have questioned Madison Keys in the past and questioned her mental toughness. Or, you know what I mean? That she can get so far in a tournament. I know she made a final before, but here she is again. And it's a great story. I hope she loses, though, because I got Sabalenka in a future already. Right? So, like, you know, I'm like, man, nice story for Madison Keys. I don't want to pick on the girl.
Yeah.
What Iga did the other day, too, was real Bush League. Like, after the second set, Swiatek came out and started running around, like warming up and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like Madison Keys was standing there waiting to serve. And you already had, like, your little break. Like, she was trying to mess. Like, literally, Swiatek was trying to mess with Madison Keys, being younger and stuff. And she tried to mess with her head and get her off her game. And Keys just stared her down and smoked an ace. Madison Keys can really, really serve well, right? So it keeps her, like, she's got a powerful game. But Sabalenka, Cam, she's mentally tough. You know what I mean? And she even talks about it. She goes, I believe I'm mentally tougher than all these other women on this tour.
Agreed.
And she sort of, she banks on it, not to mention her physical power, the physical power that she has. I've got that parlay. We gave it to everybody. We can't click it for you, but we got Sabalenka to win and the Buffalo Bills to win the AFC at plus 780.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. The Friday Night Freak Show continues as we wait on Rob Vino getting set up. We're talking about the Women's Australian Open. So it's been a hell of a run for Madison Keys getting to the final here. But this is a tough matchup for her. And Keys is older than I thought, actually. I didn't realize that she was 29 years old. She's actually been around a little while. Ranked 14th in the world. Sabalenka ranked number 1 in the world. They have played head-to-head 5 times before. And Sabalenka has a 4-1 record against her. And the last time, so Madison Keys, when did Madison Keys beat Sabalenka, actually? I got to look back here. A long time ago. She beat her in 2021 in Berlin. All right. But let's look at the Grand Slam events. 2023 Wimbledon, Sabalenka beat her 6-2, 6-4. 2023 U.S. Open, Sabalenka close actually. Keys won the first set 6-0, 6-love, and Sabalenka won 7-6, 7-6 at the U.S. Open. So that was pretty close. If you're Keys, you can hang your hat on that. And then they played this year in Beijing, and Sabalenka beat her 6-4, 6-3. So tough matchup here for Madison Keys, and I don't see Sabalenka blowing this, actually, Cam. Like I said, she's a killer. She's got ice in her veins. She's dominant in Australia. You know what I mean? Like she's in a zone right now. Like this will be a big upset to me if Keys beats her. But if you like Keys, if you like the Keys, you want to turn the door, try to turn the lock, Madison Keys plus 300 to win the match.
If you're going to take Keys, Gabe, I think you have to go with the spread betting. It's one of those things. You talk about Sabalenka, she puts guys in like chokeholds and stuff. She is an absolute menace to society. She is strong. She has every stroke. And the thing is, earlier on in her career, she would have these mental lapses, and now it's completely like remember, Gabe, she had a couple tough matches, and she like grinded back. She's like, let's figure this out here. Let's not panic. And that's the thing. Madison Keys is fantastic. She might be able to win a set, and then if she does win a set, the match bet with the spread looks pretty good. And I'm kind of thinking about the same thing. We'll talk about Zverev and Sinner, but that should be an absolutely fantastic match on the guy's side too. And I'm really happy with what you said. Madison Keys has come a long way. She's been close before, but to get here, kudos to her.
We've got a couple of different parlays and different odds boost here that I'm looking at to see if there's any value, but a lot of them are they're trying to rope you in, to be honest. This one, will Sabalenka win a set, Madison Keys win a set, and over 0.5 tie breaks, plus 550. You're asking for a lot. I like more than plus 550 there. Sabalenka to win a set, Madison Keys win a set. Sabalenka will serve the most aces, plus 750. You know, I'm not a fan of this stuff. I already hit one odds boost tonight with the women's unrivaled basketball. I won't push my luck, but the spread is Sabalenka minus 4.5 games. Madison Keys could, I could see. Yeah. I don't think, you know what, as good as Keys has played, I don't want to dismiss her, but I don't think she's going to win a set. So, that's why there's a reason why here, guys, the sports book are trying to sucker you in. All these odds boosts have, they both need to win a set. Why are they doing that? Because they know it's, not sure to happen. I think Sabalenka wins, but the 4.5.
It could be 6-4, 6-8. Hey, you know what I mean? Game is going to be right. I think it's going to be very, very close to the hook.
Yeah, 6-4, 6-4, you cover, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, though, these point spreads are super sharp. They're like anything else. I took Leylah Fernandez plus 5.5 against Coco Gauff, I think it was. Or it might have been Keys that she played, actually. Whatever. She lost by 6. It was frustrating. I had 5.5. She lost by 6. They're on top of this. So 6-4, 6-3, Sabalenka wins. But I lean to 4.5, Cam. Listen, I'm already on Sabalenka with my parlay here with the Buffalo Bills, so I want to see this close out. But I wouldn't, I think Keys will hang around. Like I said, the last 2 times they played, she went 6-4, 6-4 in Beijing, which I don't put a ton of stock in these other ones. 6-4, 6-3. So last time they played, it went 6-4, 6-3. But the semifinal of the U.S. Open, I think, is more of a barometer. and it was 6-love, 7-6, 7-6. So it did go 3 sets. But to me, this, I think Sabalenka is going to be aware of Keys' game here. And I also think Keys, Cam, she's so powerful as well. It's kind of nullified. Like, you're not going to outpower Sabalenka. I think the matchup is just bad for Keys. Yep. But that plus 4.5, I think, is live with her.
I know what the funny thing is? On the men's side, people, it's the same spread. But let me tell you something. You'd be surprised, but Zverev owns a 4-2 head-up record against Sinner. I look at the stats, very similar. Zverev's just a little bit thicker, both tall animals. So, Gabe, it's one of those situations. He's getting 4.5. I like the way he played against Djokovic. Sinner's a beast. Don't get me wrong. He's one of my favorites too, but that is something that you could sink your teeth into because this guy actually has beaten him 4 times out of 6 matches.
I can live with it. It's tough. Zverev, if there's anything, Zverev did get sort of a free pass last night. He only played an hour and a half. So he is going to be a little bit, he will be rested coming into it. But I'm more concerned. Listen, that's tomorrow night / Saturday night in the overnight hours. The women's tonight coming up here is at 12:30 Pacific, 3:30 Eastern time. So you got some overnight tennis. UCLA and Washington have finally tipped off. They're about 3.5 minutes in. UCLA are off to a good start. 9-5 Bruins right now. In-game total 142.5. We got UCLA and a money line parlay with the Buffalo Bills actually plus the points and the over. On the other side, we'll see if we can get Vino in. We're having a little bit of a problem right now. But on the other side, we'll take a look at some of the teaser potentials coming into these games. Last week was the teaser. Listen, the sports books have been getting punched in the mouth for the most part. And once again, last week they got sort of bailed out because everybody thought, Detroit are going to be Washington, and they in moneyline parlays and teasers and stuff. But this week, the betting market have loaded up on the underdogs. We'll tell you why on the other side.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use rookie quarterback on. No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
The Friday Night Free Show continues. This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. Sirius XM channel 159. UCLA up 13-11 right now on the Washington Huskies. In-game total all the way up to 145.5. It closed at 137.5. We like the over of this game. And like I said, I think UCLA will pull it out. Do they cover? They ended up closing as 5-point favorites. It's 6.5 in-game right now. There's a calm before the storm. It's a light sports world tonight. You got a full slate of college basketball tomorrow, and hopefully I want to get hopefully everything works out with Tony Finn a little bit later on. So we've had some problems with some guests. It's hit or miss. Some are getting through. Remember last week there was a problem in Texas or whatever. So hopefully we can get this sorted out. But as far as the teasers are concerned, once again, teasers are going to be in play here. I find that the Washington-Philadelphia game is kind of a tricky tease, right? Are the Commanders going to get lit up and blown out? Do you want to take your chance? Like I said, everybody wanted, a lot of people wanted Detroit teased down to 2 instead of Washington up to 16. And once Washington scored a couple early touchdowns, you felt pretty good about it. I teased the Rams last week up to plus 13. And it gave me a little bit of insurance and comfort late in the football game. We ended up hitting the spread and the teaser. It's a tough tease. I like the Bills tease better, Cam. So for me, and oh my God, I see here right now, this is the first 2 that I've seen. I don't know who the hell's betting Kansas City. Must be Paul Bovey. It's Kansas City up to 2 right now. He's moving a number or something. I don't know. It's 2 minus. KC just moved to 2. It's 1.5. Speaking of teams,
I know.
I've Buffalo Bills plus 9 now.
It's unbelievable. I've seen Gabe. It's the best what you said about Bovey too. He's in a fight with a guy on Twitter. It's but the running game was really not that. When he's a dog on a bone sometimes. Morency, you've known him long. He just doesn't stop. But hey, I'm going to tell you one thing. I don't understand this thing. I believe the Bills are better. And everyone's saying, oh, Kansas City. I know they win tight games, but the Bills in a teaser, I don't care if people talk about 6 points, 6.5, 9. And you can find something else with that, Gabe. That is a great number. Bills plus 9? Yes.
I would be surprised personally if the total didn't get into the 40s of this game. And as I've been talking about a lot, these teams have played 7 times in this era, and 5 of the games that they played have had 51 or more points scored. The 3 playoff games that they had 51 or more points scored. So it's not like, in fact, it was a couple of regular season games went under the number. They went over this number earlier in the year in the regular season when they played. I get it. There's a trip to the Super Bowl on the line. We just talked about it. The Buffalo Bills are going to want to run the ball and chew some clock up, and I think they'll be successful at doing that. But when you get into the teaser talk, 7-point teaser, you get the Buffalo Bills plus 9, over 41.5 in this game. And hell, I tell you, not this as a Buffalo Bill fan, as somebody that's wearing a Jim Kelly jersey right now, but just as if the Chiefs were getting plus 2, I would say the Chiefs are a good tease up to plus 9.
Exactly.
I don't think this game's going to be a blowout, right? I got the Bills. I haven't given a final score yet. It really hasn't settled in. I've had a few, and I keep going back to one specific score that I've got here for this game. So I think that'll probably end up being my score unless I have another sort of revelation or something. But what's your final score for the Buffalo Bills in the Kansas City Chiefs game?
Bills 27, Chiefs 23.
27-23. Well, that would get it over the number. I've got it pretty close to that. I think I got it a little bit more higher scoring. But I do think the Bills win this football game. And I don't like I said, you figure that the public market was going to come in on the Buffalo Bills here. I don't think it's the market so much so. I think it's the fact that, and I brought this up earlier off the top of the program, if you're just joining us, the Buffalo Bills have injuries right now on defense. And I never forget, Cam, I had one of the head traders on from FanDuel in studio. And we were talking about, I was just asking him random questions about the industry and stuff. And he said, we don't move numbers because there's late action and stuff like that. He said, we move numbers because of injuries. Yep. Right? And so I sort of see this right now, and I just ask, who the hell, why would this move to 2? And now it just sort of hits me. I'm like, oh, yeah, well, Bedford and Rapp are going to be out for the Buffalo Bills. 2 starters on defense, worth half a point.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We're having some problems with Rob Vino. I'm going to tell me who you like, and we'll share it with people.
Why don't you tell me who you like, Rob?
Yeah, why don't you tell me? Exactly. It's too bad. I was looking forward to speaking to Rob, and I'm wondering, I don't know, if Rob Vino can't get through, I don't know what chance do we have? I would say, you know what? Let's just go to the phone board and all that type of stuff. But we've got Tony supposedly stepping up and in a couple of minutes. And at this point, it's live TV. Like I said, we haven't had problems with all guests. It's sort of hit or miss depending on where the guest is. And it seems like the further you are, the better. Like we didn't, I don't know. Like I said, as a Bills fan, I hope this is the beginning of the demise for Philadelphia this weekend. I hope your football team performs like your internet service does, crappily. Rob's in Philadelphia.
Hey, Comcast!
Blow me. I like last week when I told Rob, I said, yeah, you Eagle fans, you guys are classless. He goes, hey, I'm from Connecticut. I just live here. Don't let me in. I'm not. I'm not here, but I just live here. So hopefully this works. We'll see if we get this going with Tony Finn. Maybe we'll see. We got to take this a segment at a time here. It is what it is. Live radio, live TV, and sometimes technology will let you down. So we were talking about the 2-point spread move. So it's up to 2, and I was saying, you hear this, and I'm guilty of saying it sometimes too about people think, oh, late money or this or that and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's either because the backup goalie's playing, because somebody's not playing, and it adjusts their power rankings, right? And So it goes to show, like, Taylor Rapp isn't a household name, but he's a good football player.
Yes.
And same with Benford. Benford has been a really, really good unheralded player for the Bills. But no excuses. At this time of the year, it's next man up, and it'll be next man up for the Buffalo Bills. But it's not ideal, especially considering the matchup that they have to stop is that sort of interior passing attack that the Kansas City Chiefs like to do. And that Kelsey over the middle of the field stuff, Noah Gray over the middle of the field. And I did a video, and I tweeted this out earlier in the day, or saying I was Lucas, a Dolphin fan, trying to get me in trouble with Bills fans. Found my tweet from last year saying, I can't wait to see Xavier Worthy score the winning touchdown against the Bills in the playoffs. Now I got all these Bills fans and people saying, why would you say this and stuff? I said this the night of the draft, you dumbasses.
Exactly.
Right? When I was being sarcastic when we drafted him and when we facilitated the trade. Like, for people that don't know this, KC wanted Xavier Worthy, but were worried he was going to be gone in the draft. And the Bills were drafting, like, after. And they were like, the Bills had the pick, but the Bills didn't like Worthy. So the Bills didn't mind trading down. And because they were like, well, we're not taking Xavier Worthy anyways, and we'll get a mid-round pick from Kansas City. The thing is, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you've lost 3 times into the playoffs to these guys.
Exactly.
That's like Real Madrid helping out Barcelona. It's like, they're not going to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Would Ohio State help Michigan out, or Michigan vice versa? No. You know what I mean? Like, they're your rivals. Like, they're the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's like, listen, I would tell them, good for you. If you want Worthy, good for you. I hope you figure it out somehow. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not helping you. Right? Like I said, and I said this fictitiously, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but if their practice facility started burning, I wouldn't call the fire department. Right? I'd be like, I don't know, like, my phone doesn't work. I don't know, what do you want to tell it? You take all that money that you won the Super Bowl with and call the fire department. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. No, I wouldn't help them. I'm being real right now. Like,
no.
If I saw Patrick Mahomes on the side of the road, like, trying to fix his tire, I wouldn't stop.
Oh, I would. Oh,
I don't want him to get hurt, but I wouldn't stop. I'm not helping him. I'm not helping him.
Call AAA.
I hope you get lost. You know what I mean? I hope you get lost for a couple hours.
That's the best. If their facility, I don't want anybody hurt, but I wouldn't stop the fire.
I say that. I don't want anyone to get hurt. It's an empty facility, empty practice facility. Nobody gets hurt. But, I'm just saying, like, you don't help them in a deal. And now, lo and behold, and the Bills were like, oh, we didn't want him anyways. That was the theory camp. Who cares if you didn't want him? Why would, like, whoever, like, and in fact, if I knew the Kansas City Chiefs wanted him, I would get off the phone and tell everybody else in the league, oh, the Chiefs just called me and they're in love with Worthy. Like, I would, like, but the thing is, the general manager of the Buffalo Bills is friends with Andy Reid. And they're buddies. Like, so you get into this, like, we help them out. And now you got Xavier Worthy, of all people, running his mouth. Xavier Worthy says he's taking this personal, that the Bills didn't want him.
Here we go.
Right? And now you know, and you also know that the Chiefs are going to get the ball to Xavier Worthy because they know that he's all super motivated now. And they also want to, like, put it back in our face and troll them. So I hope it was worth it, Brandon Bean. To help out your buddy and get Xavier Worthy. I swear to God, I did a video that night. It got like nearly 1 million views. It's like the most views I've ever gotten from a video I've ever done. Like a single sort of minute meltdown. It was the night of the draft where I just went off and I said, why don't we call the Dolphins and see what they need now? Like, I was like, I was beside myself. But Xavier Worthy's dangerous, guys. So the Buffalo Bills, like, that'll just be the ultimate killer. If it's Xavier Worthy, if my little that better not happen vision of last year happening in the playoffs comes true. But Xavier Worthy's a dangerous player. He's 12-1 to score the first touchdown. He's plus 200 to score an anytime touchdown. Although I will say Xavier Worthy's over-under receiving prop is 4.5. I'm not sure he's going to catch 5 balls, this kid.
Oh, no.
They're going to hand it off. Like, they'll throw it to him. And not to mention the Bills. Yeah, 4.5 over under 4.5 receptions. I don't think he gets to 5 receptions, but the Bills are also going to. they're really going to have their eye on him. Like, the Bills player, they don't want to get burnt by this kid either and have him. So, like, but he's dangerous. So, like I said, he worries me. But as I stated earlier, the Kansas City Chiefs are the worst team in the National Football League against tight ends. The Buffalo Bills have 2 tight ends. And I like Dalton Kincaid, but let's be real, he's okay. He's not some unstoppable force, right? And I think you'll see in a clutch situation, in a big game like this, look for Dawson Knox, man. Look for Dawson Knox to make some plays for the Buffalo Bills. And we saw Dawson Knox, and we'll get you Dawson Knox's numbers here. When they played earlier in the year, guys, Dawson Knox had a good game against them, like over the middle of the field. There was Josh Allen went to him a couple of times on third downs. Dawson Knox versus the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this year. He was targeted 6 times. He had 4 catches, 40 receiving yards. Guys, his over-under receptions is 1.5 right now.
Yep.
That's a play right there. Dawson Knox over 1.5 receptions. And then you look at Dalton Kincaid, it's over under 3.5. And it's plus 120 to the over, but it's not easy to get 4 catches in an NFL playoff game. And especially when you have a bunch of players on your team that catch balls. Like to put in context, guys, last week against Baltimore, Dawson Knox was targeted, Dalton Kincaid was targeted twice. All right? He was targeted twice. He had 1 catch. 1 catch for 11 yards, Dalton Kincaid. And now he's the one that's over under 3.5 and plus 120. Meanwhile, you got Dawson Knox. Same thing. Dawson Knox was not heavily targeted last week. He had 1 catch, 2 targets as well. Like I said, the Bills, man, if you look at the Bills last week, everybody had like a catch, basically. Shakir had his 6-7 catches or whatever, but everybody else basically just sort of had 1 catch, but they threw it to like 10 different people.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Morency, the Pistol Players, the Hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. We're throwing it down. Now we're going to wait on Tony Finn, although, we'll see. We'll see. There could be a problem that needs to be addressed over the weekend. But we've got a lot to break down here still as we're just going over the props for the game. And always a popular play, actually, at this time of the year. Correct score and winning margins. And Buffalo Bills, Cam said 27-23 Buffalo Bills. They should have this score. They don't have every one of them, but they have the common ones type of deal, and they do here. Well, they got 27-13, 24-13. Let's see what else they have. Come on, we got to have 27-16. Come on. Man, all right, let me keep scrolling here.
Keep scrolling.
I got to keep. They really do have a lot of possibilities, so I'm not even close to it. Like, where's my score? As of right now, my score is Buffalo wins 30-24.
I'm going to write that one down, too. So you got Bills 30, Chiefs 24. Okay.
Yeah, Bills 30-24. All right, I found 27-24. 27-24 Bills is 100-1.
I want 27-23. It'll be more.
Yeah, but like I said, they don't automatically have every score. Maybe I got to hit search. I'll see 27-23 if it pops up. Pretty good numbers, though. Listen, if you can get the oh yeah, here it is. That's the way to do it. Actually, just hit in the search button the actual score and it pops up. Buffalo Bills to win 27-23 is 125-1.
Sold.
The Chiefs to win 27-23 is also so both of them. Let's see what my 30-24 is. 30-24 Buffalo is the same price, 125-1. Kansas City to win 30-24 is 125-1. So at these big numbers, definitely worth taking a shot at some of these final score props. So 125-1. Let's see the winning margin here, because I think the Bills will win. I got the Bills winning by 6.
Yeah, 1-6.
So winning by 6. I should get a pretty good number here. Let me see if I can find it quickly. Winning margin, NFL futures. All right, we've got all kinds of props. I wanted to look at the specials page too. Any player to record an octopus? Yes. You know what? Once again, this is not a bad. I don't do it. I haven't done it yet. But once again, this isn't a bad bet, right? Because we've got a few opportunities to do it here. You got Josh Allen, who could do this. You got Jalen Hurts, who actually has done it. And you got Jaden Daniels, who could do this. And then you've got Patrick Mahomes, who won't do it, right? So you've got 3 out of the 4 quarterbacks, I think, at least have a puncher's chance. Now, the fact that Jalen Hurts is beat up, are they going to run the brotherly shove? Are they going to still do it? Or will they give it to Barkley? You know what I mean? So for people wondering what an octopus is, will any one individual player score a touchdown and then the 2-point conversion right after the touchdown? So they get all 8 points, the octopus. They get all 8 points. Jalen Hurts did this a couple of years ago, actually. So Jalen Hurts did this a couple of years ago. And I believe we got Tony Finn ready to step up and in here. Just heard Tony say something about having car trouble. What's up, Tony?
All I hear is
what's going on?
Hey, guys.
This guy's
you always have trouble, Tony. Trouble finds you.
Well,
what's your trouble? What's your car trouble?
I am a magnet to that. Well, we have one car in the shop doing body work, and I'm in the older vehicle. I knew it had some electrical problems, but it stranded me for a little bit, and my phone was dead because there was no charging it. It's been one of those beautiful days.
Wow. That's the best. Car in the shop, backup electrical problem. Like this
the car breaks down and your phone dies. Like sounds like you're on top of things here tonight, Tony.
You
Well,
should
my
call
phone-
Car
my
Ice
phone
T
I have-
and Car Shield, Tony. They cover these type of problems.
No. But this is
No,
all
you know what?
you guys. It only happens.
As
Yeah.
long as you're safe, Tony, right? No
It's the same
accidents,
car.
as long as you're safe.
Yeah. No, safe. It's the same car that you guys almost wrecked in Pasadena.
Well, I think you do a good job of wrecking your own cars.
I agree. Yeah, curbs.
All right, Tony. So we're up against it here, as far as time is concerned. No, it's all good, but I'm going over the final scores here. What's your final score? We got final score numbers for the conference championship games. What's your final score for the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs game?
You want exact final scores? Exact?
Yes.
I mean, or just,
exact final score. Yeah.
How about this? How about 27-21 Kansas City?
27-21 KC.
Right, I like the over.
That pays.
That's close to the
well,
over,
if you
right?
like the no, the total's now 48 and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, well, then I guess I better not play the over then. You want to score 27-21, okay? In the early game, the Eagles.
That's 150-1 for the record. So Kansas City to win the football game, 27-21 is 150-1. And the Buffalo Bills to win 27-21 is also. So you'll notice basically the Chiefs and the Bills have identical prices for their scores pretty much. Like every score we've given you so far has been the same number. And then what about the Washington game, Tony? Washington, Philadelphia.
I'd love to be on Daniels, but I'm not playing rookie quarterback past that last round. So let's go with Philadelphia 31, Washington 21.
I could see that score happening actually, even though I am taking the Washington Commanders plus the points, but I do think the game is going to go over the number in that game, and it's the same price actually. The Philadelphia Eagles to win 31-21 is 125-1. The Washington Commanders to win 31-21 is 400-1.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I'm going to go wild. 31-28 Washington. 40, same thing. 400-1.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
SportsRage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Saturday, January 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
This guy Ovechkin, how he was injured and missed all that time, and the fact that he's still on pace to pass Gretzky.
I think everybody's rooting for Ovechkin at this point in time, and I think he'll do it as well. So it's a feat that no one ever thought Scotty would be broken. It's going to be broken, and it's probably going to be broken because he's not going to stop shooting.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
All right, so I just said 31-28 as we were going into the break. 31-28 Washington. Might be a little high, although I kind of feel that way in that ballpark. Let's say 30-27 Washington.
Washington 34, Philly.
It's 150 to 1. 30-27 is 150 to 1 for it's pretty crazy that 30-27 is 150 to 1, but 31-28 was it 400?
31-21 Washington was 400, wasn't it? I said 31.
Yeah. That's weird though. 30-27 and 31-28 really aren't all that far off. And 150 to 1 to 400 to 1 is quite the. They even have 31-29. Here's a random one. 31-29, 750 to 1.
Ooh, yeah.
Washington wins. Washington wins 31-29. And even Philadelphia winning. Even Philadelphia winning is 500 to 1, 31-29.
I just got one more question. Number. Washington 33, Philly 27. Give it to me.
33, that'll pay pretty good. 33-27.
Damn right it will.
33-27 Washington is 350 to 1.
Oh man, it's lottery.
That's not bad.
Time.
But the Philadelphia winning 33-27 kind of sounds right actually. And that's 250 to 1, guys. It's a pretty big number right there.
You're right.
Like I said, that wouldn't shock me. 33-27 Philadelphia. You get 250 to 1. It's not a bad number.
Yeah.
Like I said, these final scores, I mean, you can play like 5, 10 of them, whatever. I mean, you get these type of crazy numbers, right? You can just sort of spray the board in the territory that you like. Usually I'm pretty close and pretty accurate with football final scores. So, like I said, my Buffalo one, I got 30-24 Buffalo, Tony. It's 125 to 1, 30-24 Buffalo, but I'll tinker with it. Like I said, Cam's got 27-23. That's not a bad score, 27-24. I kind of think it's a little higher, but like in all that ballpark, if you're getting 125, 150 to 1, nothing wrong with it.
I would say this, and that is if this game plays to how most believe it will, again, play out, with Barkley getting a lot of touches, may not be as high scoring as I think, but I did take a little flyer on either team to score 40 plus at plus 600, 6 to 1. I gave it a shot. Yeah.
What did Washington, Philadelphia?
I love this guy.
Washington, Philadelphia. Yeah.
That's a good bet. Well, either team, yeah.
Yeah, either team. Either team. It's a possibility, especially with Washington involved. Not so much with Philly involved, but with Washington involved, offensively and defensively for this team.
All right, so what are your picks, Tony, this week? So you like Kansas City to beat Buffalo. You said 27-21 KC, so it sounds like you like KC to beat Buffalo. What about Philadelphia and Washington at 6.5 right now?
Well, listen. Two situations in both of these games, or one in each game, and that is I think Mahomes and a pick'em, essentially a pick'em at home, is something you either buy into it, or you stay away from the game. I really think Buffalo's the better team, but Mahomes at Arrowhead. And as far as the rookie goes against Hurts, a rookie quarterback has never been to the Super Bowl. Won a Super Bowl, let alone been to one and played one. And I think Daniels and the Redskins meet a roadblock, or at least a speed bump they can't navigate. Kansas City, Philadelphia.
Another rematch of KC Philadelphia from a couple of years ago. Says Tony Finn. All right, Cam, what are your picks, Cam, for the two games?
He called the Redskins. Buffalo. I love Buffalo to cover in the game, and I think I know it. You know me, Gabe. Washington, I've been riding them the whole damn time, but I think the best play out of everything is a teaser. Take the coward's way out. You get the Bills 8.5 or 9 with Washington. Let's party. And I think you can even, if you like Philadelphia, they'll probably win the game. I'm not sure if they're going to cover, but I want Washington and Bills in a teaser. That's exactly what I want. Both dogs.
You get Washington plus 13.5 and the Buffalo Bills plus 9. And then you get the totals here, 47.5 Washington, Philadelphia. And I know Philadelphia's defense is good, but people also thought that the Rams game was going to be lower scoring. We saw how that worked out. There's going to be points put up on the board in this Washington-Philadelphia game. I like both games to go over. I'll post all my picks online. I'll do a video as well, and we'll see Bills Mafia on Sunday. You get Tony Finn at Wager Talk online. And you know what? Rob Vino, actually. It's too bad Rob couldn't join us tonight. Washington team total over 20.5, says Rob Vino. Other than that, you're on your own later.